Hello, chat. We're running hella late today, and I hope that translates into good plot. We shall see, because it's pretty much my fault that we're late, because I was writing plot! And my ability to work-life balance really sucks. Anyway, welcome to Magic Fish Radio. Thank you for tuning in. Tonight is Exit to Eden, our NWoD New World of Darkness or Chronicles of Darkness in Space campaign, where it's 6,000 years in the future of the World of Darkness. We've lost Earth. We've found a whole host of colony systems and planets, and jump gates that go between them, so travel is a lot simpler. Unfortunately, a few thousand years ago, the Veil fell, so all the Supernats are out now, and while most systemic injustices and hatreds are gone now, they've all been replaced by doubling down on classism and let's hate the Supernats. So yeah, we do this on every other Saturday night. We do that every other week with some kind of indie game, which, when I haven't had the spoons to find another indie game one-shot GM, I usually just run Demon Hunters, which is really fun, and an indie game. But yeah, so we've done this 2 weeks in a row because I was sick earlier this month, and like, damn it, I want to run my space game twice this month like I was going to. Dang it. So yeah, we're doing that. So next week, this weekend, Eden, next week, indie game, hopefully. And on Tuesday nights, we've been running a Vampire the Masquerade V5 cron set in the roaring 1920s, where our ridiculous coterie is now gallivanting across Europe doing, well, crimes. And someone had a brilliant idea of, oh sure, I'm sure this contract I'm writing with the Fae is just paper and ink. And there will be no repercussions aside from legal ramifications. And that,
it'll be fine.
I really needed that laugh that day. That said, I'm really glad I'm not the GM of that game. Because, like, yeah, John's got some things like, well, this cron might last a bit longer than I was planning, because now there's repercussions. Whew.
Consequences, come on.
I had one group of players who made a deal with the summer court and the winter court, and then proceeded to renege on the deal with the winter court. So that campaign ended up with them being chased into the sunset by the Wild Hunt.
Ooh,
Nice.
which version of Fae was this D&D or one of the?
This was D&D, technically. I found 5e stats for the Wild Hunt, and I'm just like, y'all are so fucked, y'all are poor.
Ooh, that would be just as bad an idea in Dark Age Fae. Not quite so bad in Lost, but it depends on Changeling Lost, but it depends on circumstances.
I'd rather piss off the summer court than the winter court, to be frank.
Yeah. It depends on which version. Because again, Dark Ages Fae versus Changeling Lost is like.
Oh, I meant Lost.
Oh, Lost? Yeah. I don't know. Court of Wrath versus Court of Fear. Is it Fear? I forgot. I have a headache. Okay.
It's all good. Sorry. Derailing.
Okay. Anyway. So with that, I'm very sure I'm forgetting something. So let's start with player intros, until I remember what it is. Let's go clockwise. Merc, who are you playing today?
I'm doing the Wolf Blood, and as you can see, you've had my coffee for today. Still a little choked up from last week, but I should be okay to play.
So glad you don't have the big ick.
Nope.
I am very grateful to the gaming gods and just pestilence gods, and yeah.
Here's Bro, I'll drink to that. Dune is the token human, nominally. He's a Wolf Blood, which is werewolf adjacent. Still technically full human, but
technically. Next, Puka. Merc, do you want to say more things?
I was just going to say that if you scratch Dune, you might find the wolf close to the surface than you'd hope.
Like, literally. I have also had too much caffeine today, despite all of the experience I've had that say I shouldn't do that. Okay, Puka, who are you playing today?
Hello, I'm Puka. I'm playing Sungrazer, sometime pilot, sometimes smuggler, generally strung out, and sometimes has those eyes.
Too much in-character caffeine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's your whole character.
I've had not enough caffeine today, so I'm probably not going to be as aligned between player and character, but I'll make it.
Okay, Zardoz, who are you playing?
I am playing Captain Masterson, the one of the other people attached to this group of miscreants, who's attempting to help them finish their particular task on this planet so we can get back to some place that doesn't suck.
And Josh, who are you today? And how many aliases do you have now?
One fewer. So I'm Josh. I'm playing Petruchio, who would smell a sweet with another name. That other name is Rosencrantz, which is the alias Petruchio is primarily using on this planet, and is left behind Alphonse, who was the alias of the party. So no more Alphonse. Who knows who Alphonse is?
My brain is trying to pun, and no, stop, brain, stop. Okay, Dracus, who are you playing today?
Hi, I'm Dracus. I'm playing Dr. Gina Rakis. It's totally my name. Usually I'm Klaus. I'm the mage of the party under that pseudonym, and the medic of the party under the other, and usually it's a little of both.
Woohoo! I'm still getting used to having a bigger screen that can hold all of the things on it. Okay, let's go. Thank you, my civilian account, for hosting. I still managed to startle myself with the hosting noise. Go me. It's gonna be a great game, guys. Oh yeah. Okay. That said, alright, so a couple things to tie up. Y'all went to a big fancy party of the elites to boost their Supernat detection system.
And by boost, we mean steal, not make better.
Which we did.
We are not there to improve anything.
Steal it.
Sure we are. Just not theirs.
Oh, thank you for the follow, Zefreaker? I can't pronounce things today. Okay, good screen name. You have confounded my pronunciation internal guide. So, yeah, upside, y'all succeeded at the heist, and y'all reconvene back at your spaceship in Ponos, the crappy neighborhood.
It's very up and coming, though. I mean,
the gentrification can only go so far when your entire planet is a city.
they have a coffee bar. That's something.
It's true.
Sure.
They might accidentally attract hipsters with it.
Well, nowadays they'll just, like, create a fake slum for the hipsters to live. And then the actual slums are just sort of left alone. I mean, in megacities, gentrification does happen. It just doesn't seem able to get a foothold in Ponos, so who knows? That said, before the mass exodus to, I believe my players are calling it Ugly Mars, Shitty Mars, which is Dysnomia, another planet. The system is Limos, the planet is Logoi, there is another smaller planetoid called Dysnomia, where all the Supernats exodus to, and it's a lot like Mars in temperature and climate and semi-atmosphere, only it's yellow. Or was I going through this? Oh yeah, and a lot of them used to live in Ponos, because it was a shitty neighborhood, where we sent all the supernaturals to live. Because this is a shitty, shitty society. That said, so y'all crashed an elite party, and stole their stuff, and then got sucked into a hedge realm.
Most of us.
Most of you. Yes, Dune, you were frozen, and then, Yeah, I dare say, because you were human, you were put into rage mode, or something fucked with your brain. You know this, and it sucks, and you hate it on so many levels. As someone who has probably had, gifts used on you in the past, in your days in Wolf Country, it does not feel the same, but it still sucks. And you hate it. But you were still, oh no, you were downstairs when all that went down.
Yes, so I was in rage mode, but nothing to rage on.
Actually, no, then, well, what would have happened was, you would have been fine in the basement. If you then went up to the main room to figure out what the fuck's going on and why are my friends all fighting, that would have then put you in rage mode. So you had a brief respite, and then, nope. But then you have the briefest recollection that your friends walked through a magic door, and then everything stopped. At which point, the security guards, which you had completely seduced with your affable Welsh manner, were just like, dude, are you okay? You were like the first person, you were still, you came back in relatively close to your bar, and the security dudes were like, dude, are you okay? Like, before even checking in with anyone else. It's like, dude, are you okay? And there's a Pomeranian in your pocket going, Roof.
On one hand, oops. On the other hand, thank God that little Pomeranian wasn't there during rage mode, and that I wasn't there for rage mode to, in case the little Pomeranian had gotten it.
Oh no, it's still in your pocket.
It's still in my pocket, yes, but I wasn't here for rage mode for long enough for me to accidentally, start a fight that the Pomeranian wouldn't win, You kind
of don't. It's just sort of this haze. You got the sense that the Pomeranian was not meant to be the target of your attack mode, but your other friends.
Right. No, what I am saying as a player is that if Dune had started a fight with a small and fragile dog in his pocket, he would not, any kind of smack to the in the area of that pocket would probably have crushed the dog.
Yeah, basically what you can recall is that you went into that headspace, but were not close enough to the people you were supposed to be attacking to actually kind of do anything. You were starting to press towards them with the rest of the masses, but they were too far away, and you were not thinking clearly. Ironically, if you were in your own mind, you could probably have done a better job.
So, I'll do the,
Huntsman
basically he's like, yeah, Dune's just like, yep, and how do y'all, all that kind of stuff, making sure the security guards are okay in return.
Yeah. And the security guards are all very, what the fuck was that? Was there a Supernat attack? Like, what the hell was that, man? And they all, like, some of them are more visibly shaken than others. Like, some of them just have, like, the most professional poker faces you've ever seen, but some of you get a sense of who are the newer ones, by who actually looks a little disturbed.
Yeah, Dune will take a swig from his own hip flask.
Nobody's stopping you. At which point, the security, the woman who is head of security, you think, kind of like, everyone could just remain calm. The authorities have been called. We cannot allow anyone to leave the party until we are sure that it is safe to do so. And the elites are a little cranky about this, you can tell from the general noises in response. But everyone's kind of too shell-shocked.
Anyone who's hurt, if anyone is hurt, I have drinks at the bar and at a number of other bars around the edge. Please make sure to drink responsibly.
Everyone's kind of... Actually, roll me, that would be presence and character sheets.
I so want you to get like 6 successes and just...
There's no way I'm doing this.
Be stuck making cocktails for the next several hours for a bunch of glitterati who want nothing more than to just be near you.
That would be presence, I believe, expression. Because it's like to a large audience.
Oh yeah, no. I have a +1 to this roll. After all, bonuses and minuses.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that reminds me, chat. You can buy bonuses for the players with channel points because nobody has any money. So we're doing.
Well,
this...
10 again. I didn't exactly mean to use that as a as a dice tray, but okay. And again, Jesus, what a fucking way to waste 10 again.
Oh, this is turning into the best night ever.
This is like when Dune was also trying to make friends with the security guards in the first place. Like, I don't know.
Apparently my dice love social rolls because I rolled a 28 and I have a 1 dot after. I have 1 dot bonus after all the negatives for not having expression. There was a 27 on dice.
Clearly, you have exploited talents that are coming to the fore.
The accent. It's the accent. What does it? They're just
Should get bonuses for the accent.
charmed by the accent.
Okay. So I forgot. That's what I forgot was to take account of all the plus ones. So 22. So player characters, you have 18 plus ones in the pool. I have considerably more, but I'm saving them for something. Okay. So chat, what we do is we're using a first edition Mind's Eye Theater hack from first edition NWoD on second ed NWoD and shoehorning it and making it work, where all dice rolls are just 1d10 plus your dots. Because I'm an X-lerper. X? For now X. There's quarantine. Okay. So yeah, Dune says everyone hears you, and security lady looks a little annoyed, but a lot of the grumblier rich people are coming towards you, you know, wanting alcohol, which is at least keeping them from whining at her, so she'll take it. And some of the security guys kind of quietly, when she's not looking, kind of give you a thumbs up. And it's like, crowd control. Hooray. Eventually, over the course of the evening, your friends return from the magic... Or first, the lady who was singing, who you suppose also went through the magic door, came out first, kind of stumbles out and is like, what the fuck? And then security talks to her. And by that point, the cops have shown up. And the cops have started taking witness statements and trying to figure out, are there any... Was this a Supernat incursion? At which point, some point during early in the evening, you get questioned by a police officer who basically asks, so, did you see anything strange or out of the ordinary leading up to the concert?
Well, I am a, well, I was hired to do the bartending at this particular convocation. I'm afraid that I am not well versed in what high society is, so I saw any number of things that I am not used to seeing. The person clothed in nothing but tattoos comes most vividly to mind, but I could not say whether or not any of them were particularly supernatural, say.
So at first the cop is going to get on your case, like, start to grill you a bit harder. Because his cop senses say that there is something amiss here, but the security guys nearby kind of eye him, and he just sort of holds back and is like, okay. Because he scored stupidly high on those social rolls, so. And this makes
if
it
you
easy
would like,
for me.
you may have a drink as well. I don't believe that the they will be very particular about the stock after anything is left.
Do you offer a drink to the cop?
Yes.
He's like, I can't drink when I'm on duty. Like, what the heck? And moves on to the next member of staff, and you go back to tending bar.
It's my job, you know. Gotta offer everybody a drink.
So yes, eventually, so you get a sense that your friends stumbled out of the magic door, and because you have Wolfie's sense, and but at that point, the security dudes are like, "Yeah, do you want to go out for drinks, like in a real bar?" So basically, the security guys invite you out for drinks after the party because they all need to like decompress as well, and that's why you're not there back at the ship with everyone else last game. Woohoo!
You keep referring to the rest of us as Dune's friends, but I think you'll find that by this point, Dune has made several new friends.
Surprising new friends, and has taught them all several drinking songs from Wolf Country.
Wow, they really like wolves in on your planet. Not thinking.
Well, that's because my city. I do not come from a holy planet city. There is actually green area left on the outsides.
Huh? Is it on the verge? Or is it on the? Yeah, the verge.
It is certainly not anywhere near here, unfortunately. Oops. Shit. That's me. Sorry.
Okay. So, meanwhile, our other missing party member, who's here now, not counting the missing party member who just didn't show up today, hopefully he is okay. Because very few people I know just don't get on the internet within a 24-hour period. That's just weird. But Sungrazer, you actually went through that magic door and ended up in film noir land, but being from the far-flung future, which doesn't actually remember what Earth was like, for you it was this weird alien black and white world with really low-grade tech, and it was weird. But you were dressed really cute as the Friday.
Poor quality booze in that world, I'll tell you that much.
Oh, you didn't actually... I don't know if you actually got to the point where the booze, since Petruchio's persona had their own nightclub. It was a whole thing. There's a VOD of it. Go check it out, people. So yeah, you were in that world, and then you just sort of weren't. Like, hedge pockets are weird like that. You do wake up. You're basically like sitting in a cafe somewhere in that same neighborhood eventually with the little floof curled up inside your jacket. And you do already have your weapon on you because you picked that up during the giant mass combat scene. So you do not have to go back to the place, but you wake up a good few hours later after the rest, or some of the party has reconvened back on the ship.
Our phones are still working, right? On this.
Yes.
Our phones are now again.
They
working.
are now working.
I'm just gonna send a text and be like, "Hey," with about 7 Ys.
So it is very, very late at night. Are any of you still awake?
Probably.
I mean, theoretically, I am.
Just say, you know.
GGN +1s. Thank you, Vampiric Yoda.
I reply, horse.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check and see if people are awake and back at the ship, and if they are, which I believe they are, I'll head back.
I will message you with, "Oh, good, you're alive."
Are any of us really alive?
Debatable.
I mean, Petruchio.
We are, however, at the ship.
It's very insensitive to say when your party includes a vampire. Just saying.
Yeah.
Mixed splat games are fun, but weird.
The living challenged.
We are, I believe, all totally existent.
So, Petruchio, I said last game when you checked in on your algorithm, it had turned up some, because you're looking for a big piece of empty space.
Yep. In
the local real estate, where they might be hiding a Supernat gulag. Is it rude of me to use the term the term gulag applies, I think. Is it rude of me to use that? I don't know.
I think it is the correct term.
Oh, and someone named Actual
I'm
Dracus
sorry.
just got a bunch of player +1s.
There were 4.
So your pool is at 22 again. Okay. So, so the next day, at some point, y'all wake up. Pashurkio, you've got, your algorithm is still running because it is a lot of real estate to cover. However, it has come up with a big chunk of empty space under the neighborhood that you were in.
Huh.
Like, really far down, but this is, it's not just under Ponos, it expands through, like, 2 other adjoining neighborhoods that are slightly less shitty. And it's pretty far down, like, much closer to what you assume is the surface of the planet. Since this is basically Coruscant, where the city is built up at least a mile high, and there's just layers and layers of strata of city and development. Because that's what happens when you colonize a planet for 2,000 years. Oh, god damn it, people!
I'm so sorry. We're just getting in a war, and they're like, stop it. And I don't want to, because, like,
someday
I've been resisting doing this for weeks.
You can't hand
This
it
is a
back.
war you cannot win. I have been accumulating channel points since we started streaming.
Someday, I will be able to pay people to be in all this channel, at which point I will have someone to run all this shit so I can run the game without having to keep track of the OBS. Okay.
I'm gonna wait until break to fight back there.
Thank you. Okay, so that's 1, 2... I can't count this. This will have to wait until break because I can't brain right now. Thank you for all the channel point spends, but my head hurts and I want to run my damn game.
I'll count.
Thank you. Alright, so, Petruchio, you have found a sizable, just, black hole in the very low levels of this area. Like, that is... no one's been clear about the numbers of what Supernats and Supernat sympathizers were blackbagged. Mostly because there were not really clear numbers of Supernats known in the area to begin with, because this, Limos is not like Idun. In Idun, you can declare yourself a Supernat on the census anonymously, and that's how they kind of keep track of things. But also, Idun doesn't hate Supernats, and might be the last bastion of tolerance in the Expanse region of space. Limos, like, people are getting some estimates based on who hightailed it to dysnomia, but, like, you could hide a lot of people, like, tens of thousands of people, in this big chunk of Undercity. Yeah. Do you do any other investigation remotely, should I say?
Sure. Actually, let's start with a historical title search for that area. Because if I can get a better idea of who used to own it before, it'll give me a better sense of whether this was an area that was abandoned, that may be taken over by the government, or whether it's an area that simply went deep into hiding and might be owned by some ancient Supernat faction.
Okay. What would you like to roll for that?
That's an excellent question. Let me switch to my character sheet for a moment. Yep, there we are. So that looks like intelligence, which is 5 dots, and academics, which is 2 dots.
Sorry, I just saw what you've put in for the ship name. Yes, you can also... We still haven't named the spaceship that the Karve Tourism Ltd company uses, so once we have enough, we'll vote on it, or the party members will vote on it. And this group is on paper, Karve Tourism Ltd, which is a front for an underground railroad, which is why these characters are here in this awful system trying to save Supernats before there is another purge, which has happened a few other times in the Expanse. Meanwhile, Patricio, what are you rolling?
Sure. As much as I would love to make this computers, and if the GM will let me make computers, I'll totally make computers, because I'll always make computers if I can. The most obvious thing would be intelligence plus academics.
I'll allow computers. I mean, at this point, everything.
Sure.
I mean, this planet is only this colony is only 2,000 years old. Like, everything should be digital.
Sounds great.
Digital or digitized.
So I think it's just intelligence plus computers, which means I have a default of 10.
As long as it's digital, I think we're good.
I don't think I have a relevant specialty, and that's fine. Okay, but I do have 8 again, and that was also a 10. So that was 17. Plus my 10 is a 27.
So, successes, start, 8 is 1 success, and then they go up every 3 points. So a 27 is, where'd that go? 27 is 7 successes, whereas an exceptional success is 5. And I don't want to make them all use an electronic dice roller, but I'm, like, I don't want to say I'm suspicious. I don't want to do that. Because this is a nice group, but I just, how? Except the reverse evil eye effect of being on Twitch. But anyway.
I don't know.
So
if I had had my choice, I would not have 10'd again on a social roll to impress words I can't say.
All right.
It may just be that time of the month. I will note that on Friday we had a Call of Cthulhu game where we rolled so many times below 10 on D100.
Having just tried that system a couple weeks ago, Jesus F. Christ.
We had
Is that good in that system?
We had straight up character death in one of my other games because he rolled double ones on his bleeding
game.
out.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Okay, so so with the 27, you search and you search and you search and you, all the search terms, all the data, there are no titles. Going back as far as you can into the city databases, into public domain, into private channels, even if your hacking roll, if you add hacking to get,
sure,
a 29, Jesus, which is 8 successes, you cannot, which is very kind of, disturbing.
Yeah.
Whoever covered this up has deleted 2,000 years of digital history.
Or alternatively, they have somehow managed to have this be hidden for an incredibly long period of time and just prevented anyone from looking into it, which is itself really suspicious.
As far as you can tell, let me see, I can give you stuff from the data I have. Yeah, like you like sometimes when people erase data, there's still, data traces, like there is nothing. There's not even a hint of a whisper of an impression. Like there is nothing. As far as you can tell, there are no utilities wired or piped through this area. Everything goes completely around it.
Right. Okay, so this is what I found. Has anyone seen anyone who can do something like this?
Am I back to the ship yet? Or
yeah, we'll say it's the next day, so all of the PCs are here. Also a Jellycat and a Floof.
Where is that now?
How are the Jellycat and the Floof interacting? This is very important.
Sungrazer brought the Floof home.
Speaking of bringing things home, did the Pomeranian ever leave my pocket?
Did he?
I never gave it back.
Okay, then you have a Pomeranian as well. Woof.
A small teacup Pomeranian who I've been slipping bar fries all night, essentially.
Captain Masterson, the small animal creatures have tripled since you went to bed, and this is not fun for you.
So, what are you looking at, Petruchio?
So
Phew!
there is an area underneath us that that there clearly is building going into and building coming out of, but everything seems to go around it, and as far as I can determine, it has never been owned by anyone ever.
Oh, it's very definitely owned.
I would bet that's where the werewolves live.
Why werewolves?
I was down that way the other day, and I saw markings for the local pack, let's call them. But they weren't stay away markings, as in this is our territory. This is stay away markings for your own safety. So I don't rightly know what they've got down there, but I know they think it'll kill anyone who comes too close.
At that, there is not a knock on the spaceship door, but like a tapping noise.
If you brought home another goddamn animal.
Actually, the Pomeranian is just sort of... so Jellycat is not happy about having to share its territory with these other creatures that have fluff. Jellycat does not like fluff. Jellycat is a Jellycat. But Jellycat and the Floof both kind of like... The Floof kind of starts Floof at the top, and Jellycat just kind of hisses at the door, and the Pomeranian is just like, what?
In Dunes' pocket.
Yeah. The Pomeranian is waiting for another French fry.
Dune will slip an actual dog type food, so like some kind of meat.
Oh yeah, meat. Nom, 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 nom. But there is a tap on the door, and you all hear it.
I'll go answer it.
Okay, there is...
Because I suspect I know what it is.
But if we ignore it, it'll go away.
There is no one at the door. No one or no thing, except there is... Hold on. Where is it?
I'm gonna keep hold of the floof in case it bolts to chase after whatever supernatural thing is out there.
The floof does not want to bolt after anything. The floof looks very disturbed of whatever that was.
Oh.
It was outside of the floof's realm of expertise, and the floof does not want to deal with it.
I'll give it little calming scritches under its...
So
I'm Bohemian. But if we ignore it, it'll go away. Strong leadership skills.
The floof was purchased as some kind of animal Supernat detector, and floofs were already built by someone else for the space venue, so I just went with it. Because there's stats for them.
Can we see what's outside using the ship's cameras?
Well, I opened the door, so...
Yeah. You, Dune, you open the door.
Fair enough.
There is nothing there that you can see. Except this, like, kind of yellowed piece of paper that is sitting kind of on the dock in front of the door.
I will...
This side of it is blank, but you can only see one side of it.
I'll pick it up.
Okay, so it's this very yellowed, crumbling, and, like, looks like bits of it have been chewed on piece of just mundane paper. But there is a symbol on it that you recognize as, you're not necessarily fluent in first tongue, but you've picked up a few obvious symbols here and there. This is one that... What's funny is I tried looking up what's the Forsaken word for welcome or greeting, and there isn't one. Which is so telling of Werewolf the Forsaken. But basically, so I made... I didn't actually draw this. Oh, I knew I forgot something. But you see a symbol on it that you've seen put in places of, like, neutral territory and gathering. Like, some are permanent in wolf country, some are temporary, and wolves gather there to settle disputes or have moots or have ceremonies or big rites. So... You very long ago tried to make contact with the pack downstairs. This could be them reaching out and saying, yeah, come out. Which would mean, like, Actually, roll me... for Dune, what would this be? Oh yeah, I would say roll me int occult, and your werewolf specialty counts.
Okay. 14.
Okay, so that is 3 successes. So, based on what you know of wolf packs and how they work, they probably, if they just come up to say hi, there would have been a werewolf standing at that door. What you think happened is that they're still downstairs and sent a spirit with a message to bring it up. And thinking about it, you did see a spirit crow, or raven, or corvid, not COVID, which I almost said, some kind of spirit corvid when you were looking around down there. So it's like, yeah, that could have been a beak tap. And if it was a spirit, you know, the floof might be a Supernat detector, and Jellycat, you know, well, Jellycat didn't like an abyssal spirit, but you don't know if that applies to all spirits, because, you know, Jellycat generally stays in the office. So you're pretty sure what this is that the werewolf sent a very simple message with a spirit.
Well, it seems like the owners of that particular area may in fact wish to speak. It appears we have an invitation.
Very serendipitous.
Excellent.
I don't know that serendipity has anything to do with it. When what I've known of werewolves, they never pass up a chance to be dramatic.
Do you think they noticed me poking around? In which case, they probably did use some kind of magic to make the information go away.
I don't know what kind of wolves are down there, so I couldn't rightly say for sure. Only some of the packs, particularly enjoy dealing with technology.
I mean, this being a cyberpunk space setting, you'd be hard-pressed to find wolves that reject all technology like they did in regular NWoD.
Right, no, but for the hackers and shit, they're probably the iron whatevers.
Yeah, the Iron Masters are better at it than everyone else. But even the ones that are like the Hunters in Darkness don't generally reject it like they used to. But
right,
yeah,
I'm not saying they reject it. I'm simply saying that for a world-class hacker, you want an Iron Master.
Yes.
So
that said, we're talking about a werewolf thing, which is a hidden city on an entirely technological planet. Someone's hiding them.
Very likely. However, technology is not my area of expertise either, so I couldn't rightly say either way. However, what I can rightly say is that we have been invited should we wish to go down and investigate.
Well, we should go down and talk then.
Indeed, as far to try and advance our objective of getting all the supernaturals out of the system before it all inevitably goes to shit.
Very well. I will leave a message for Officer Barkbark to possibly join us at his earliest convenience.
Fade ears, drop a custom NPC.
Werewolf Bob. What's really funny is I was gonna go with Texan accents, so this works out.
The idea is not to tell him, and now it's all his fault.
Indeed. I believe,
Mutton chops.
if you will allow it, speaking directly to Jellycat now, I believe I will leave this newest member of the crew with under your care on the ship. I pull out the tiny Pomeranian.
This will take a roll.
It's half the size of
Jellycat, you're in charge. You're the alpha here.
Alright. Still on Dune sheet. Dune, this will be... I'll say this is this is present animal ken.
Okay. I have a little bit of animal ken.
Because Jellycat is just sort of like, blah.
Well, all my bonuses and shit. And that's a 4.
Right. So you say, Jellycat, it just starts hissing at the Pomeranian, who is very confused and not sure if this is something he should be afraid of, even though, even with Floof, Jellycat is twice the size of the Pomeranian. Woof.
May want to put the Pomeranian in your room or something.
That might
Probably
not...
a wise
All right.
idea.
Jellycat, this is very important. Don't eat the dog.
Okay, that'll be, again, presence animal Ken.
Yep.
Does
Oh, my
Avantru
base is a
have
5.
animal Ken?
I do, in fact, have animal Ken.
Oh, good!
So that's a 13, which is 2 successes.
And
So I
what
can do arithmetic check.
remind me again what you told
Oh, sorry, one
Jellycat,
success.
don't eat the Pomeranian. It's like,
Don't eat the Pomeranian.
Don't eat the dog.
If you eat the dog, you will have to deal with having fur both inside you and outside you.
Just 1 success.
So I will go and I will put the Pomeranian in my room with a little bit of newspaper, a towel that smells like me, and a bowl of water and a little bowl of food, which is probably just, whatever was in the kitchen.
You mean Dune Chow?
Basically.
If they're
We're
beer
gonna
in
have to
there.
get like proper pet food at some point, aren't we?
I just assume Dune eats like just bricks of beef jerky and just cracked one in half and just tossed it into the bowl for the Pomeranian.
Meat pies!
Wouldn't do that, but because the problem with beef jerky is the same problem with rice, is if you give them a bunch, they will eat a bunch and they will drink a bunch and they will expand their stomachs and kill them. So
Pomeranians are pigeons. Oh no.
animals aren't very bright and don't understand the concept of dehydration, so it would probably be fresher than jerky, but not by much.
Dune just has like a whole bunch of frozen meat pies that he just heats up in the toaster oven in the kitchenette. Meat pies? Yes. Okay, so do y'all make any other preparations before going downstairs?
I am going also to pull a fresh bottle from my stash.
Yes.
Changing my face.
Because I feel like that will definitely be helpful in negotiations.
Just store the floof somewhere.
Floof?
Some kind of
Yeah, Jellycat doesn't like the floof either.
several layers of containment.
The floof has a greater sense of self-preservation and understands not to mess with the Jellycat or get too close. Floof! And floof kind of
has no such.
points its little weasel nose towards, like, in the direction of your quarters, which is not where the Jellycat is. Floof! The teal floof.
The floof will be inside a hermetically sealed capsule of some kind.
A floof is basically, well, this floof is basically a teal ferret. But floofier. Because it's a floof. Meant to match someone's outfit with its genetically enhanced coat of teal.
A floof made of fashion.
Fashion floof. So yes, the floof just, settles somewhere.
All I can think of is a giant worm on a string.
A giant fluffy worm on a string.
Does anyone know what the floof eats?
Floof?
I'm gonna look it up right now, just like in my head. What does a floof eat?
Floofs are omnivores. They're basically I won't even make you roll for this. They're completely genetically engineered pets, so they're omnivores to match their owner's diet and lifestyle. So it's not like, when vegans try to feed cats only vegetables and things go badly.
So do I
some
count as
vegans.
its owner now?
Huh?
Do I count as its owner now? I'm gonna leave it a bag of coffee grounds and a bucket of burned out diodes.
Terrible.
Sniff, sniff, sniff. Floof? But yeah, so floofs can eat meat, vegetable, carbohydrates, grains, bugs, Some people get off on feeding them bugs like they're a real pet.
They get off.
So wait, floofs are custom designed pets. Do they poop?
They do. They have not figured out how to genetically engineer that out of any species yet.
Okay.
Also said I
Do they like
At least
you
not
produce like
mammals.
little sterile cubes that you can then just stick in a pocket or something?
I mean, it's
Wombat.
basically like rabbit poop. It's very condensed.
Yep.
So
Well, wombats poop in cubes.
the floof is not part wombat. I am sorry.
I will give the the flu for finger shake. Don't you go eating the new dog either. It didn't ask for this.
Floof? The floof looks very affronted at that you would think the floof would eat other floofy creatures. Floof is like, floof? Floof! Floof is civilized.
That one has all the brain cells.
I mean, the floof doesn't have a lot of brain cells, but what it does have, it uses.
I've seen what stoats eat. Don't be going after the small and fluffy thing.
Well, floof, it doesn't really seem to have claws like a regular rodent.
Fair.
Because, well, we don't have to declaw them if we just don't let them have claws. It's like, okay. The future is weird, guys.
You will need to hire a pet nanny while we're waiting. I'm just curious if you want to invite some stranger into our ship so that they can look around, find all
Well,
the
I
stuff.
could keep an eye on them, says NWoD, the AI.
I think they will be
Pet nanny
sufficiently
built right
protected. I don't believe that. I mean, if anybody would particularly like a weapon before we leave, I have a few.
Carry a weapon in this economy? No thanks.
Well, we're not exactly going places where the local constabulary will particularly harass us.
Yes, unlike Idun, you are not actually allowed to carry yeah, they have like the whole like pocket knife of a certain length laws here. It's ridiculous. Not like Idun where you can just carry weapons because you're surrounded by supernats with magic anyway. So why not let everyone carry weapons?
I am going to refill my trench coat space.
Yeah. So yeah.
I will send a note to the police department asking about my gun permit.
They have not answered yet, but it has not even been 12 hours.
Well, no. I said it when I originally got here. This is a follow-up about my gun.
Oh yeah. And then you got on the commissioner's case yesterday.
Yeah.
Because you could, and yeah, that won't have repercussions, I'm sure.
For him, it'll be great.
So yeah, nothing yet. So yeah, is anyone else doing anything to prepare?
I changed faces and I'm on.
Oh, what does John Rando look like? Just John Rando?
I think he's a random combination of Klaus and Sungrazer.
So you look like their kid.
Yeah. This is the same thing I do to everyone.
Or their
Tony
parents. But age is impossible to gauge at this point. Alright, anything else?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay.
I've got my booze, I've got my guns.
I don't have common sense. I'm not going to think of anything useful.
Okay. Alright.
I presumably just like have everything, mage.
So, Dune, you start leading the party down to where you were exploring before. And you're already kind of at a point in the city where sunlight is kind of hard to come by unless it's exactly the right time of day. But after maybe a half hour of walking, there is no light. There is no light that is not artificial. You're even further down than the ska bar. Which is basically just at the edge of the gloom, more or less.
I hate it down here.
Yep, there's... all the light is artificial. It is not very flattering. The further down you go, even the artificial lights become fewer and fewer. There are more, let's say, vermin. Unless you
I'm not exactly overly fond of it myself, but it's where the entrance is, and that's all I can do.
There's small vermin that some of you can sense that are scurrying, chittering, and slithering. And there are more, the further down you go, there's more like utility cabinets and things like that, and you get the sense that, there are definitely squatters down here, or even here, like, you get a sense that there were squatters. But it's...
I will pull out one of my larger knives.
It's, just the further down you go, there is more dust and ash built up. There is less and less evidence of, shall we say, sentient life.
The charming place that your family has asked us to meet them in.
And just the gloom and smoke is just like this ever-present fog that you can still see through, but it's like the whole cast of your vision is just one shade darker.
That reminds me, while we're walking into a dark place to go visit werewolves, did you know that Boris was a werewolf?
I knew it when he came upon the ship. It's not that hard to tell.
And you decided not to share with the rest of us?
Presumably because it was obvious, right?
I called him cousin. Did you think we were actually related?
Yes.
Because you don't have the same accent? And he's not from the same planet? No.
Well, I've never met him, so...
Well, you did meet him, but he was in wolf form.
Like, I hadn't met him until I saw he was a wolf.
And then it became obvious.
Rather.
I didn't think it worth mentioning. I thought you'd already knew.
Why would we know anything? We don't know. We have never displayed a deep understanding of other supernatural beings between us. I'm pointing at Sungrazer.
Okay, Arcane the Sage, where capybaras are not actually a thing, but I can work with that. Oh, ROUS? Oh, that I can do. No problem.
You said vermin, I joked about ROUSs. This is the result.
So yeah, the further down you go, there is more and more gloom. Dune, you know, you have wolfy senses, or slightly enhanced senses.
Isn't it?
And you can just smell the dust and the damp and the rot and vermin and, you know, you can hear extra crumbling and dripping all around you. And yeah, it's a dark, dank undercity in a metropolis city.
And also, Boris is not the first werewolf we've worked with. I didn't think it was important because it really has mattered before. Next time you're curious, you may just ask. I will tell you, unlike most werewolves.
Kinfolk loophole. The herd must not know. Well, I'm heard already. Or so I've heard.
What are they going to be like? I mean, I haven't really hung out with a lot of werewolves before, so...
I'm sorry, say it again. You were cut up by somebody else.
Oh, so, you know, what are they going to be like?
These werewolves, I would say they are much more traditional than perhaps the one aboard ship.
Traditional...
very, very big on the pack dynamics, as it were, and very concerned with the other side of the gauntlet.
Well, that sounds charming.
Well, I certainly hope not. We've certainly run into
where changelings have the hedge, werewolves have the other side, the gauntlet. Yeah. Pass through it, and you come through to the spirit world, which is not, as far as I'm aware, any kind of thing like the hedge, or perhaps even whatever mages use, although I don't quite know what their deal is.
It's like we each have separate closets in all of our own bedrooms.
True, and like the hedge, the other side of the gauntlet will try and consume you if left long enough. However, as I am not a particularly, what you might call a spiritual werewolf blood, then I don't particularly deal with that side of things. I don't do magic, I don't traffic with spirits, and I don't reach through the gauntlet to the other side.
but these werewolves do because they're tradition.
All werewolves do. Just to the degree is different between packs.
I see. All right. Are we gonna have to like sniff each other or something?
I sincerely doubt it.
All right,
If
good.
you would like to, you may go ahead. I don't know exactly what that will do for you.
No, I just didn't have time to,
We didn't freshen up beforehand.
I mean, I gesture to the dust and rot and rust all over the place. I don't know that it would exactly have helped, perhaps.
Fair point. Fair point. Sungrazer's gonna keep the laser pistol a little bit closer at hand on, principle.
I don't think that's going to help, but if it makes you feel comfortable.
It does. It does. It's just,
I mean, realistically, if this turns bad, you and I are going to turn into ghosts and run like hell.
I might turn into a ghost before we even get there, just for the sake of, don't like this.
Realistically, if it goes bad, then we might all be ghosts by the end of it, and not particularly willingly. But if it doesn't go all the way bad, but goes only a little bit bad, I might be at a bit more risk than the rest of you. So we shall see.
Well, I hope not. This whole situation makes me edgy. I don't like to be edgy.
You live on the edge.
I know. I hate it.
I'm pretty sure the only edge that he lives on is the edge of a heart attack from the amount of caffeine he drinks.
Oh, thanks for the reminder. Pulling out a flask and offering a bit to Klaus.
I accept.
Wouldn't it
Coffee
be,
made with Red Bull.
Yeah.
wouldn't it be easier to just get that compressed solid form so that you can just chew on it?
I pull out a notepad and start making a note.
I mean, you could probably pack in thousands of percent more caffeine by mass with a solid carbon stick instead of whatever you're trying to drink.
But it's about the experience.
That's literally it. Like,
For you, it's about
just
the
like summon a caffeine pill. Like, could just be using this, but no.
It's a full sensory experience when it's coffee or an energy drink.
As dispenser of caffeine pills.
I don't think
Sungracer eats some like Tic Tacs.
Even better.
for that many caffeine pills.
I'm pretty sure Sungracer uses caffeine to keep their heart beating. So.
Oh no. The heart's fine even without the caffeine. The caffeine is to like increase the heart rate to an order of magnitude beyond human tolerance.
I mean, yeah, that's fair.
All right, so we're
walking.
on the Oregon Trail here.
Yeah.
I should say Oregon Trail.
Eventually, you end up in that place where you stopped before, because you saw the symbol, which basically means, safety not guaranteed.
If there was a point you wish to draw your weapons, I believe this would be it.
However, again, I dare say Dune notices it before anyone else. There's another one of those, like, kind of yellowed old pieces of paper scrawled with that welcome symbol on it, kind of at the foot of that stretch of wall.
Well, I don't think we should be heading on from here without an invitation.
Well, that is our invitation there, the piece of paper. It means,
I hadn't noticed it.
if not welcome, then at least an offer of no violence from the inhabiting pack. However, that symbol there, I point to the one deeply indelibly etched into the wall, says that safety is not guaranteed, but not by the wolves. Whatever is down here may try to take chunks out of you, and there's nothing they can do about it.
Yeah,
So, as I said, if you wish to draw your weapons, now would be the time.
Players, y'all would have not seen that mark if Dune had not pointed it out to you.
Like, you were clearly looking around, you didn't see it before, but then, like, a second look at it as he's pointing shows you the mark.
At first you think it's painted on, like graffiti, but then you realize it's actually, like, carved into the surface. Klaus, do you have any dots in Spirit Sphere?
Think so. I do have one.
Okay. 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 Just checking, because we don't have a werewolf tonight like we were supposed to. So we'll see how this goes.
Okay, so you bring me to the nicest places.
So,
I came here first alone, if it's any consolation, and I came back alive.
so the warning rune was carved in something that kind of shapes over a doorway. So you were, well, I mean, everything feels like it's indoors this far down into the city. So yeah, you go through this passageway.
I do have now 2 knives out.
That's fair.
And if anybody else wanted a knife, they could also have a knife.
And
I have a knife. I don't really know how to use it, but I have it.
You do get a sense of a distinct trail in the dust. So, or a part of the area that is slightly less less dusty. So it's like, okay, this is the path. Which leads you to a pair of very rusted down steel doors, one of which has rusted so that it's sort of hung ajar and you can walk through. Very, very large, like, double steel doors. So even though it's like kind of hanging just slightly like this, you only have to duck a little bit to just get under it without touching it.
I'll go first.
Dune, you imagine someone shaped like a wolf would just walk right through. But...
well, full wolf maybe, or the near wolf forms.
Well, no, the like the regular wolf. No, like an actual wolf.
Yeah, as opposed to one of the bigger forms that's halfway.
Yeah. So
Do you remember the names for forms? No.
So this everyone roll me wits investigation, or if you don't have that investigation, it is it resolve composure? I keep forgetting.
I think so.
Yeah, resolve composure, or investigation if you have it.
8 plus. I got a 13.
12.
Does this qualify as a perception-based roll?
Yes.
All right, I get to use my bonus.
Woohoo!
That bonus is awesome.
Yeah. 20.
Okay, so Sungrazer got a 20, got an exceptional
12.
success. The rest of you got average successes. Patricio, did you roll?
I did. That's a 7 plus 8 is 15.
Okay.
That's 2 successes.
So
No, 3.
Puka, were you just doing the 2 attributes, or were you using investigation?
The 2 attributes plus acute senses.
Okay. Did anyone use investigation?
I did.
Okay. So it is there is no electricity here.
Damn it.
So there are no lights.
This is like the
And plasma conduit.
Fundraiser to be in.
So does anyone glow? Just asking, because I forget.
I have a flashlight and hammer in trench coat space.
Awesome. Someone has a flashlight.
I pull it out and I
could
click it on.
probably magically glow, but like,
It's
That's
one of
a
the big
lot of
mag
work.
lights.
yeah.
That's a lot of work, and you risk invoking the abyss, and that's just
Yeah.
never good. Well, Paradox is the abyss. All right, so
Phone?
so yeah,
Won't work.
Dune, how many? So you with the so yeah. So first, no utilities as explained in Petruchio's web search, there are no utilities present here. No one failed, so you all get a sense that the atmosphere has changed. Like, it's still breathable, but it went from being, like, cold, damp, and rusty. It's, like, kind of dry and acrid, and, like, when you heat up dust and it makes you sneeze, well, it makes me sneezy and is awful, so it kind of turns into, like, that burnt dust smell.
Anything smellable with vampire senses?
You mean like blood?
Yep.
You don't really smell any blood.
Interesting. Okay.
I pull out my mag light and click it on.
So...
Whatever future mag light is.
But yeah, there's, like, no humidity down here. And, like, true, there you don't hear the sounds of any water pipes or dripping like you did outside. It's still, like, that's kind of a weird change for being this far down in the end, and very quickly changed, too. Dune is shining his light around. It's a weird area. It looks like a much older kind of form of architecture, which almost has this kind of, like, Art Deco kind of look to it, with very, like, sharp lines and contrasts, and it's just all covered in just dust and soot, and it's just very, very weird. You see... Oh, here we go. Yeah, you see, I'll say Sungrazer, as Dune is shining their light around, you see something glint on one of the walls, like, under all the dust.
Dune, over there.
I shine my flashlight where he's pointing.
Yeah, it looks like there might be something under that wall that's shiny. Or under that layer of dust on the wall that is shiny.
I don't know what
I'll
I'm wondering, but I feel
go
like...
over there and give it a swipe.
Okay, you see in these kind of stylized Art Deco kind of letters, Domain 666.
That sounds charming.
Petruchio, with your stupidly high research roll. You did find evidence of, like, other places in the area that were previously designated as domains, which, as a vampire, I won't even make you roll for it. It's like, oh, well, but that's going back, like, thousands of years, or hundreds of years, if not thousands. I think the system's, like, 2,000 years founded. But yeah, so you get a sense that, oh, vampires must have had quite a lot of influence in building the initial colony.
Right.
Because you just know how to pick up on those... Well, any of you would know how to pick up on that kind of detail, but this is a specifically vampiric detail. But in all of your research, you didn't find a domain 666. You found other places at this level in other parts of their neighborhoods that were domain 6 something else, but...
As if the address 666 never existed.
Yup.
Neat.
Well, you know, a bunch of people were the neighbors of the beast.
So, Dune, you kind of floofed off some of the dust and revealed what was really a nice kind of silver leafed, or not actual silver, but
I was gonna say, just like
a nice metallic leafed kind of stylized street sign. I guess mage and werewolf adjacent characters, give me occult roll. Give me int occult rolls.
okie dokie.
Dracus, I think you have to speak high speech.
I do.
as a mage, like, you can't get out of it. You have to speak a little of it.
I'm
Does
at
especially
11.
werewolfism come in?
Huh? Oh, yes, werewolf. Yes.
Okay. 16.
Okay. Dracos.
11.
Okay. So, Mage High Speech is definitely somehow related to First Tongue, the spirit language of the spirit world and werewolves. There are variational differences and accents and stuff. I'm sure Puka could explain all this a lot better than I could, but I'm tired. I'm both tired and high on caffeine at the same time, lol. Just like Sungrazer.
Is it kind of the way I can look at Italian and get an idea because I know Latin?
Mm-hmm. So you both see Dune and Klaus. I think you can all see this weird symbol on the wall. Sungrazer, you see right away that it's not painted on or graffitied. It's actually chiseled into the wall. But Dune and Klaus, you both recognize it as more or less saying buried alive. Dune, you think, how high did you roll? Dune, you rolled really...
16?
Yeah, that's high enough to say that could have been made by a claw.
Oh, yeah, no,
in
definitely.
stone.
I have no doubt that the werewolves will be carving with claws.
That checks out.
It says buried alive?
Yes, buried alive. It's not really like a cohesive sentence. Dune, you sense that since it was covered in dust to be imperceivable until you wiped it away, it's like a big honking symbol. Like, it's been here a really long time. Like, hundreds of years, possibly. You're not sure this is a local pack mark or one from like hundreds of years ago? You're not comfortable with this discovery.
It seems the local pack was not well pleased with the certification of the entire planet. As near as I can tell.
Oh? How? Why?
This particular mark is the exact translation doesn't really matter, but it expresses a long-lasting displeasure at the loss of the sun or possibly the moon.
Are you sure that's the certification of the planet rather than the loss of Earth?
Given the fact that the literal translation is something akin to buried alive, I think they were rather more upset with the immediate fact that somebody had walled in their damn domain, I believe this is.
Sungrazer, because you rolled stupidly high you rolled an exceptional success on your perception check. You are kind of, you're all kind of looking around. It's what you all see as you're looking around is you see residential areas, you see commercial areas, or at least they probably used to be. What you see instead of what would usually is like lots of leftover, or let's say just decrepit, antiquated, like medical equipment and beds. Sungrazer, what you notice through smell and just perception, some of this isn't dust, some of it is ash. As if some of these places, these rooms or areas had fires set in them. But not all of them. Also, Sungrazer, this is a lot of stuff. Like, you being, in the
Merchant
career,
Marine.
Yeah, in your career kind of focus, like, and you guys went through like several layers of Undercity to get here that were all stripped bare and empty. This place has not been stripped, and that's kind of weird. Like, maybe it has something to do with werewolf stuff, but it's like, Like, and all of this is just crumbling, decrepit equipment now. But, like, at some point, someone should have scavenged it.
So either we're buried too deep for someone to scavenge, or there's some kind of weird effect happening.
Possibly, but, I mean, you were able to get in. And there is a wolf pack who patrols here regularly, supposedly.
Perhaps it's cursed.
Perhaps it's touched by some sort of illness or disease.
Hmm.
With this much medical equipment laying around.
Yeah.
And it looks like they had set fires in specific places.
I defer to the medic, who I believe has the requisite skills to tell us.
Does anyone have a KN95?
Petruchio, you were trying to smell for blood, and you smell absolutely nothing blood or flesh related.
Huh.
But there is a lot of dust.
Doesn't smell like there's anything alive down here.
Can I make heads or tails of the medical equipment?
You said something about the spirit world. Is it possible they could have just all gone into the spirit world? Is that
If they were, it was a one-way trip. As I said, I am not exactly well versed in the spirit world, as I am rather the... When a wolf blood becomes, they tend to focus either more on this world or more on the next. And it is a very rare one where the two shall meet, and I am not. This world is my domain. I am good at fighting and well and thoroughly angered to this world, shall we say.
Needless to say, you all feel a little bit uncomfortable here. You can't quite put your fingers on it, but it's
if the gauntlet reached out and touched this area, that would... turning people to dust is not outside of the realm of possibility.
Dune, give me a... well, anyone, at that comment, give me an int science roll.
Nope.
Do I even have science? The answer is...
I mean...
No, I don't.
A 15.
12.
Okay.
Oh my god. 14
Sun...
with no bonuses. That was on dice.
All right, so Dune, Sungrazer, and Klaus, as you're all talking about this, you see just how, like, the plastics are tattered and decomposing. The things that were probably concrete are starting to turn to dust and just falling apart. Fabrics are tattered.
Mm-hmm.
Klaus, it's fitting that you're the medic and you got the highest score. You know, after a certain amount of time, humanoid bodies just turn to dust. This may have been here so long that there's no... Well, anything carbon-based is now just carbon. Like, it wouldn't smell like flesh, or it wouldn't be flesh or blood in any kind of traceable or genetically readable material. And you said you were looking closer at the medical equipment?
Yeah, I want to see if I can gather what kind of medical equipment, like, you know.
Give me an int medicine check. Or have you already done that yet? Since
I have not.
Okay. So you're the specialist.
It's almost like your character was built for this or something.
I can do basic math.
Hmm.
That's 12.
Okay, you find your way into something that looks like it maybe used to be like a supermarket. And there's still a ton of just, you know, old supplies on the shelves. A lot of it is expired food stuff or things that have just crumbled. But there's, you know, spaced out. Some shelves have been taken down or pushed aside, and there's just beds. And there's plastic sheeting up everywhere. You eventually you're picking around and you find what looks like a lab station. And this is like really, really old medical tech. Like, we're talking, like, not decades, but centuries. At least.
Is there anything specific that it's, like, made to treat?
You can't well... I'll say with 12, but it being this time period, you're definitely getting a sense. Actually, no. It's what you see is a lot of like centrifuges and like needles and like sample collections.
I will follow Klaus into the supermarket.
Yeah. I'll say
And
you're
look
all
for-
here. Sungrazer, you find some parts of the supermarket which were on fire at some point in the distant history. You're assuming, because this history is stretching out further and further into the past the further you go. But yeah, Klaus, you find like you rolled a 12, so that's like 2 successes. Like centrifuges haven't. Is that how? Am I saying it right?
I think
Yeah.
so.
The thing where you put the test tubes in
Yeah,
the spinny
centrifuge.
thing.
Yeah, that's a centrifuge.
Those haven't changed too much over the centuries. You see, like, you know, things that was clearly monitoring equipment. There's an old dusty computer in here.
I guess I'll go look at that.
Yeah, it's...
I'll also take a look at that.
I will also say, as I'm like poking around, like, well, I think something definitely happened here, but I can tell you nothing new has died here in a very long time. I just kind of look meaningfully at the dust.
Yeah, like, the dust is undisturbed. Like, the only footprints in it is yours.
I'm looking for space Twinkies.
Twinkies are totally fine.
I mean, we're in a supermarket.
You find a plastic encased space Twinkie on a shelf and pick it up and it crumbles to dust in your hands.
No!
There is a
Thank
limit.
Thank
Dear
God.
God.
What about marshmallow peeps?
You
Count
pick up
the
another
limit.
one, and this one holds together though. So you think the other one might have accidentally been opened by something, but you do find a few that are holding their integrity.
Top one.
Roll Where is your character sheet? I know I opened it. Oh, here we go. Oh, okay. Roll me stamina and survival.
I want to eat one, but I'm not going to.
I have an 8 total.
You have 1 success?
Yeah.
You don't take any damage, but you do break a tooth on it.
Oh,
Son of a bitch.
So this one has actually just, not calcified, I guess fossilized.
I will be squeezing them to see if the rest of them are like this.
Oh, they're all rocks now.
Son of a...
It's like, what the hell, man? No one of you are sure if this is how Twinkies are supposed to age, because, well, it just hasn't come up. Yeah, so there is a computer. There is no electricity here. However, one could jury-rig something, perhaps. But it will take some rolls.
You want to try getting the computer working?
why
What
not?
was the original power source for the computer?
Sure.
The original power
why
source
not?
would have been a wall outlet.
Yeah, no, the wall is not producing power. We're going to have to pull out existing power sources we have and jerry rig it a little bit.
Well, no. What I mean is, if this place never had electricity running through it, which seems to be what the records indicate, then, or the records lied to us again.
Or
You
the
do
records lied to us.
You see evidence of, like, outside, you saw there are lights, there are power sockets, there are utility cabinets, but none of them have anything running through them now.
Yep.
Which means it probably did have electricity at one point.
That said, Dune, do you happen to have anything with a decent power pack?
I have my cell phone. I left
what
the
if-
sonic shotgun back on the ship because I didn't think it would be required for today.
Ah, well, the power for that would have certainly been sufficient.
Kind of hate to suggest it, but I have myself.
I was gonna say elemental, I feel like should be helpful somehow, but I'm not sure how.
I
Then what
mean,
should we-
I've got a couple of backup batteries for the mag light.
That would work.
There you go.
Jellycat would also work, but Jellycat isn't here.
I hand you 2 C cells, two space C cells, or whatever they are.
Right, let's see what we can do here. Probably going to want to skip the transformer because that's probably a step down. Sure, I'll make a roll.
Okay, what are you going to do to try and turn on this computer?
I'm starting with let us take a look at how the power is set up and the transformer level, and then figure out how to provide enough power for the computer to run.
Okay. Well, I'll say what you do find for the sake of time is something that was probably an old external power generator nearby.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in case of blackouts. It's kind of fallen apart, but using this, you can more easily, like, use a power source to connect to this, and then connect that to the computer.
Sure. Yeah, I have, like, at this point, I have two interfaces. I can generalize from that. Okay. So that's intelligence plus computers. I think hacking counts here.
Puka, does your character have a jury rigging specialty in engineering, or?
There does.
Yeah.
Is that a yes or a no?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so compare
So that
dice
may be
pools and see who wants to take the lead on this.
My starting dice pool is a 12. Also, I rolled an 8 and I have 8 again on computers.
Okay.
So that's an 18. That's a 28. That's a 35.
God damn it. Okay. Well, now I'm glad I organized the information in this way. So my break alarm went off. So we'll say that, you know, Sungrazer, you point towards some things for jury rigging. Petruchio, you roll a freaking 35.
Yes.
So basically, I ranked it where the more successes you get, the more information you get before something else happens. So, it doesn't take much for you to get around, you know, it's not really, this is like, Jesus Christ, this operating system is antiquated, and you'd better scroll through the data.
Boy, it's a good thing somebody attended a panel on ancient hacking techniques at some point.
We'll say that counts. So you get around the password protection really quickly, because these were clearly doctors and not, you know, tech people or IT people. So you know you have to scroll through this data really quickly before the system just melts into a pile of rust and goo.
Somewhere in there, I find myself using some of the techniques described by that really annoying co-panelist and curse his name while using his stuff.
Chat, look up the series of VODs called HackerCon, because it was amazing. So, the data you do manage to get. First, you find out Domain 666 was converted into a quarantine zone for the Red Plague.
Right.
All these records are dated in the 3050s, so about 1,000 years ago. And it looks like all Red Plague patients for that time period were sent to this domain, plus a bunch of medics and safety gear to... Doctors were definitely trying to treat the patients and figure out a cure for Red Plague. So the idea was have everyone in one place so we can study them all at once, while also quarantining them from the rest of the city at the time. So they were trying to find a cure for Red Plague at first. Unfortunately, the logs descend into accounts of further quarantining of raging supernats and humans who had been infected by the disease, until they couldn't quarantine or contain the ragers quickly enough as they succumbed to Red Plague. And then, it seemed to be, you know, the remaining few accounts, or the remaining scientists and survivors, who just had to keep running and hiding from the infected and often becoming infected themselves. Until you get to I'm the only one left. I don't know if anyone will ever find us. Limos health system stopped sending supplies weeks ago. Have they forgotten us? Are they trying to bury us? And then the final, before the final log you get is the Red Death told me to set the predators ablaze, obey the rage, and then zzz, the computer is dead. So with that, it's time for our 10-minute break. Wasn't?
Well, that was not dark at all.
At
least no one was wearing any masks
Moria.
that we know of.
Oh, people were wearing full containment suits.
Oh, that's
but
true.
when you're facing a Rothstriking Vulgar vampire, you know, a plastic suit isn't really gonna stop you from getting clawed through the guts. Anyway, so time for a 10-minute break. Chat, you know, take a break yourselves, go make some ramen, get a drink, you know, hang out, and when we get back, I'm sure my players will have plenty of questions on what the Red Plague is, and why it is so widely known throughout the current galaxy that they won't have to make rolls about it. So see you in 10 minutes, bye! Hello, chat. We are back for more Exit to Eden, a World of Darkness in Space. But our player characters are not currently in Eden. They're in Limos system. Somewhere far, far, far deep into the Undercity, where they apparently have just stumbled into an ancient quarantine zone for a rash of red plague that happened in the system 1,000 years ago. Presumably invited by some werewolves. That's weird.
That is us, not the plague, I hope.
I mean, could be column A, could be column B.
Okay, so yeah, right before we broke, we stopped for break. Patricio found a whole bunch of data on this ancient computer before it just melted down from being old. That this was in fact a red plague quarantine, and it looks like then turned into a, you know, plague zombie movie, ending with whoever had access to this computer falling to something, you know, the commands of something called the Red Death that was talking to them in, like, okay. So yeah, that didn't look like a good time for anybody.
So, I don't know much about spirits, is that correct, basically?
I mean, I would allow, depending on the situation, I would allow you to use your werewolf specialty, because spirits are what werewolves hunt. And Orum Dutakis, the wolf must hunt. And then, after they hunt, they tell stories. And everyone's heard, even if you've never had first-hand interactions with spirits. Well, I mean, yeah, I think Dune knows enough about spirits also to, like, well, the kinfolk in Eden City, because there are just so few werewolves, that they're like, hey, here's how to spot a spirit, and send up a flare for the werewolves to come deal with it, kind of kinfolk mafia. Yeah, 28 days later in Moria. That's about where we are right now.
Don't like that.
Red Plague. So the good news is, as far as anyone's been able to study it, the dead can't give it to the living.
Oh, good.
That
So we aren't
said-
just gonna get it from being here.
I mean, the door is open. The giant, huge metal quarantine doors are no longer sealed against the elements. If they were going to give it to anybody, they would have already passed it up into the underhives.
Okay, and
True.
so
We are
without
physically breathing in the ash of people who died from it too, though. So.
things y'all know without rolling is, you
Well,
know,
you may
the
be
dead
breathing.
can't give it to the living. Also, just basically, what Red Plague does is in all humanoids, it causes just, like, red veins and splotches to form on the skin and get really fucked up looking. A regular human gets it, and they pretty quickly just dissolve into a puddle of pink and red ooze. What's really freaky is vampires can get it. And vampires are more or less typically immune to all diseases. They can sometimes carry them if they're bloodborne and not, careful. But they, all supernats are susceptible to the red plague. So typically any person who gets it, not only do they start getting sick as, their blood vessels start exploding and awful things happen onto their insides, they start losing morality. Sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly, but you lose humanity, wisdom, clarity, until eventually you are the zero morality version of your creature archetype. Vampires become Voggers. Werewolves become Balehounds? I forget. There's a lot of versions of evil werewolves, even without the pure being present in the system. Mages go mad. Changelings become... I forget the name of the changeling monster, but yeah. So, and sometimes it happens very quickly, sometimes it happens slowly, in a slow descent towards madness and insanity, and it's awful. Human bodies just kind of degrade and turn to mush. Supernats keep going, and they keep going as that monster form until there is no havoc left to be wreaked. For anything else, you can make an int medicine roll.
I think I will.
Woohoo!
I think I'll try it. Actually, do have a little bit of medicine.
I think I won't bother.
I don't have medicine.
Yeah.
10.
I would allow int science.
Oh, okay.
I don't have science.
John Rando has no idea what's going on.
I'm still trying to figure out why the twink.
One success.
Okay.
With my one success, I will, understand what other people say.
So with one success, 1 and 3 successes, y'all would know that, so as far as anyone's been able to tell, the dead can't give it to the living. However, pockets of it just spring up in random places, on colonies, in deep space. So if they're not getting it from the dead, where does it come from? And no one's been able to find that out because anyone who tries to study it generally succumbs to it and goes insane. If you couldn't tell by the computer log.
Yeah.
It's understood to spread, like, is it airborne? I mean, like, is it airborne?
It is not airborne. It is typically, bitten or clawed.
So
and
it's
humans
blood
do
contact.
that too when they're whacked out enough. So it's transmittable through bodily fluid exchange.
And we're entering a den of werewolves that has been living in this environment.
Well, the dead supposedly can't give it to the living.
Right.
But people don't know where it comes from when it springs up all over the galaxy. Generally, quarantine measures have improved over the last 1,000 years, for sure. So more people have been able to study it, but no one's found a cure yet. Dracus, what Klaus knows as an actual doctor, the current prevailing theory is that the Silent created it. Because during the Silent War, it seems like a mutated version of Red Plague was used to turn supernats and even humans into mindless slaves of the Silent.
I know things about that.
Oh yeah, so you might know that too, but where does your Silent? Oh, that's occult lore for you.
Yeah.
You can make the int occult roll then.
Ooh, I can try. No, I got a 6. I got no idea.
Yeah. So the other 4 of you are like, okay, so one prevailing theory is that the Silent is infecting people with it still.
Still?
Yeah, which is why it keeps popping up.
When was the Silent War?
About 50 years ago.
Yeah, and this is 1,000 years old?
Yeah, Red Plague has been in the galaxy at least 1,000 years. Like, this is an old disease that typically pops up in random places.
So would this quarantine site then be one of the first, if it's been around for about 1,000 years?
Definitely. That's also I forgot to look at the history part of Red Plague. I'll say it. It probably, yeah. I will say it's. Well, fuck it. This is my game, not
early.
MES. So
Your game.
it definitely didn't start to appear until the Expanse was getting colonized, which is about 2,000 years ago. So 1,000 years wasn't one of the earliest examples, but it's an interesting pattern how, you know, you open up an area for colonization and then Red Plague pockets start springing up in places.
Well, that was what I was wondering. Does it show up more in newer colonies? Or does it...
Josh, eat your mic.
Typically, it seems to pop up in newer colonies.
Josh,
So
eat your mic.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mow. Nom nom. Yeah, sorry, I don't have the monitor on at a reasonable volume, so I can't hear whether I'm on or not.
It's all good. So as worrying as this is, it isn't where the werewolves are. You said it was extremely dusty, except for where we'd been. Are there any other trails in the dust?
None. You are the only people to have been in here in hundreds of years. So
Wonderful.
If the werewolves are patrolling, they can either fly, which is less weird than it sounds, well, to Dune.
But would still stir up dust.
That's true. So
I was thinking wall crawling or ceiling.
well, that you found plenty of dust on the walls, though, so that would have left a trail too.
Or whatever the thing that is in here that is the werewolves are afraid of, lured us in here to do something that it wanted to do.
My big question is why we're here. Why send us here?
I think that's a great question that will get us all.
That is
killed.
an excellent question. Why would the werewolves want us here? And if they didn't, then who wanted us here?
I mean, there's a quick way to find them.
Howling?
Yes.
Just taking a wild stab in the dark.
What do you do?
The only problem with howling is that if I do start, I will be the most obvious thing down here.
So maybe not. I mean, do we have to stay in here? Should we try moving to somewhere else?
I would most certainly advocate for not being in here.
Yeah.
In the near future, but
well, my vote is all about returning to somewhere a little bit less steeped in death. But
we can try and leave and see what tries to kill us.
Seems like as good a plan as any.
Not a
Usually
bad idea
all four
anyway.
places steeped in death, but this one is freaking even me out.
How far into this place have we explored? That's a question I have. Have we just like gone in like 5 feet, looked around, seen some things?
You've gone in like, in Undercity terms, you've gone about a city block. And maybe half. Actually, no, you've gone maybe half a block in. There is still like going back out again would not take very long.
How many blocks is this zone?
First Zardoz and then Josh. When you talk at the same time, Zoom won't let me hear either of you. Zardoz, what was your question?
So how big is this area that we haven't explored?
Vast. Based on Petruchio's calculations, like, this area could hold tens of thousands of people in it when alive.
That was the same question I had.
Okay, yeah. So this is a tiny corner of an Undercity area the size of Queens. Actually, no, probably like a third of the size of Queens, but still pretty big. I mean, Queens is pretty dense, but you know. This is, yeah. The size of Midtown, let's say, but like, I mean, lots of. I'm so bad at scaling.
How many
numbers.
city blocks, give or take?
You're not sure because they were all erased from the data, or just not entered into what you looked at. So, yeah, you're having a hard time figuring it out because you don't have dark vision. You've been relying on Dune's one flashlight.
I thought vampires do have dark vision, actually.
I think you need one of the I have glowy eye powers, which is not dominate. I think it's a protean thing. We can double check for later.
Yeah.
How long ago were the records scrubbed, like that you were looking at before we came down here?
There wasn't even enough data to be able to tell that. And
well,
as an Expanse colony, like, everything could have been digitized from the beginning, and it looks like a lot of things were, but...
Okay, so there's no data from this place ever?
The best data we have from this place is, in fact, the Crazy Plague Journal.
Which has, unfortunately, you smell burning plastic.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's
there's no saving that hard drive.
I don't.
Damn.
As I recall, the Crazy Plague diary did in fact make mention of the fact that the Limos health authorities were sending supplies at one point or another to this quarantine location.
With those 10 successes, can we say that I recorded what you told us? Even though obviously we'll never be able to mine any more data from it.
Do you have an eidetic memory type merit?
I don't.
Oh.
It makes much more sense for me to simply set up I have a computer in my head.
That's fine. I'll allow that.
Yeah.
You just sort of did a lot of screenshots with your eyes.
Yeah.
Like one of the Mission Impossible movies.
Are there any other computers in the room or in the area?
No, just this one, because this isn't a proper lab. It was a supermarket turned into a lab. And honestly, I'm thinking in terms of, like, urban supermarkets. So, like, the size of one that you'd see in Queens, not one that you'd see, like, a Costco in the suburbs, so...
There we go.
Yeah.
Sorry, my camera's out of focus and it was bugging me.
So what would...
I have a feeling I have no concept of urban supermarket.
So imagine a 7-Eleven, but that's it. That's your grocery store.
Maybe like two 7-Elevens,
okay,
but still not. Actually,
we have all bordering on Costco out here.
Actually,
you're thinking like a bodega.
I'm still thinking about 7-Elevens in terms of New York City size, which is also quite small. So yeah, let's just say one 7-Eleven large.
Yeah.
Okay.
One freestanding gas station large, and it's all the groceries.
Cool.
And it's also usually in like another building. So.
Klaus, will you give me a... let's call this a wits occult roll.
Okay.
Oh, actually, and +1.
Oh, so it cancels out my mental -1.
For wits? Oh, yeah.
Because I still have fucking
maybe
AI in my head.
Is in your head going, huh, this is really fucked up, and... Okay, make the roll. I completely forgot about Min's butt's face again.
I rolled a 10. Let's roll again. Okay. That's 24.
Okay, so 24 is 6 successes. So all of you have been feeling unsettled since you came down here, just with the change of you know, heat and humidity to be, you know, just that was just weird. Although the fact that this used to be a quarantine zone might explain why it's partially sealed off enough for the environment to change. Klaus, there are no ghosts here. You felt something else was bugging you this whole time. There was clearly a whole lot of death and a whole lot of violent death down here. There are no ghosts. And that is wrong with a capital W. From
That's
the
what's
core of
freaking me out.
your Moros being, for all this death, there is not enough death for you to talk to. At the same time you realize this, Min's butt space says, we need to get out of here. This place is wrong.
Yep, I'm agreeing.
I don't have a reference for how wrong. It is wrong. We need to leave now. Leave now. Leave now. You have never heard Min's butt space afraid.
Huh.
And that is also a little disturbing. None of the rest of you hear that.
For player level, is Min's butt space the AI?
Is
Yeah.
the AI
Okay.
in Klaus's head that you
Okay.
tried to get removed several times, and
And that turns out to be more than just a computer.
it
Another
has its own-
option would be to go back to the first symbol and call for them there and see if the pack would answer.
Okay.
I would like to get out of here as quickly as possible. I just put my finger on what's so absolutely wrong here, and it is possibly dangerously wrong.
Right. Let's get out.
Ready to leave for several minutes now. So.
What? The scale of
Going.
dangerously wrong?
Hmm?
What's the scale of dangerously wrong?
No ghosts in this entire place.
Well, that seems foolish given the amount of just mayhem that happened in here.
Mm-hmm. We're leaving now.
Okay, so you all exit the grocery store and are on a different street than the one you walked in on.
Oh, fuck.
Turning up my mantle to full blast.
Suddenly it is very warm in here. It is very hot in here, and it is Masterson. Dune and Klaus, given your stats and your backgrounds, have either of you ever been in the spirit world? Whether you wanted to go or not. Just,
Probably unwillingly.
that's what I figured.
I don't know.
Okay. Dune, make me a roll of... Give me a wits occult roll, and you may use your werewolf spec.
Because they were
I'm going to
right
make the
fucking in
decision
there.
that no, probably not.
Okay.
Just cause.
So 8 and 7 is 15.
Okay, so, Dracus, I'll say that Klaus gets a weird feeling in their mage senses, but they don't quite know which one because you didn't train that much. And how many dots of spirit do you have?
Just one.
Yeah, you're like, your spidey sense is tingling, but you don't know why, but it's not the ghost thing. Dune, you are in the Hysil.
Ooh, this is a bit not good.
Which means, y'all didn't go through any kind of y'all didn't cross a gauntlet. You shouldn't be in the Hysil. But you are. And at that point, everyone roll initiative.
So, you
dear
know how
goodness.
that gates will take you to the edge?
No, you don't get a chance to explain, sorry. You can explain after combat.
Alright.
Right then.
And funny, due to the nature of the, of today's adventure, I can mix several NPC buy-ins together.
15.
Great.
I'm at 12.
Alright, I have NPC stats on another sheet. Okay.
Initiative is based on what? I know I have it written down.
A
There's
D10
Dex and Comp.
Dex and Comp.
Composure.
Plus, yeah.
I made little notes on my character sheet of where some of the stats come from, and I'm really proud of myself for it.
11.
I copied the character sheet I had originally, and it had this information on it, so I'm just trusting that's true.
Okay, please, I forgot to write things down. Everyone give me your initiatives again, please.
And you're having us roll the D10 plus our initiative, right?
D10 plus initiative, yes.
15 for Dune.
11 for Patricia.
18 for some Grazer. Excuse me.
12 for Klaus.
Okay.
I
Zardos?
have a 14.
And initiative is not 10s again, right?
I'll allow it for today, for reasons that will soon become apparent.
Good to know.
Zardos, what is your roll? I'm sorry.
14.
14. Well, fuck. Okay, so
Because it probably matters, my initiative modifier is +5 for determining whether or not I go before or after the NPC.
The NPC only rolled an 8, so consider yourselves lucky.
Oh no.
So Sungrazer, so all of you... Actually, this kind of works. Sungrazer, there is a... It basically looks like a giant rat, but it's got like a shorter snout, so it's a capybara that is chittering at you and bolting at you full speed. Meanwhile, it's also going zzz around you, and you get a sense that it is coming for your sparkiness. And you're not really happy about this. It only rolled an 8, so it's going last, but it's like basically an electric capybara is charging towards you.
Much as I'm tempted to try to add to our pet compliment, I feel as though this might not be.
Well, you're looking at it, and it's not only is it slightly electric, it also seems that parts of it are inside out. So you see exposed bone and muscle and guts amidst the fur parts. It is rather disturbing and macabre. Normally you would think, is this a hedge beast? Hedge beasts aren't usually this fucked up.
Is it generating electricity? Like there's electricity around it?
It's sort of sparking a bit like electricity. You're not sure what happens if you touch it, but...
Or if I try, say, to manipulate it.
I mean, you'll have to explain to me how, but, you know, we'll see. We'll see. I will just say, changelings, this is not a hedge beast. You are not in the hedge.
You are sure about this?
You are very sure you are not in the hedge right now, and that is not a hedge beast. Whatever it is a monster.
Can I defer my action while I figure out what to do and let somebody else who's more combat-oriented figure this out?
Okay, fine. Dune, you go next.
Makes sense.
With its sharp, pointy teeth and its inside-out parts and, like, different legs look like, some of them look like rodent legs and some of them look like insect legs. This is a fucked up thing.
You remember how I said that there's a...
You will have to speak faster. We are in rounds.
We're in the werewolf equivalent of the hedge currently.
Okay,
Spirit world, if you will. Okay. I reach in and I pull out, put back one of my knives. I actually put back both my knives and pull out instead coal iron in one hand and silver in the other.
Ironic.
And I'm going in with the silver.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Do you go into like punch it, or do you just hold your action to defend? Because it's going at Sungrazer.
I'm going in to try and stab it with a silver knife.
Okay, I will say okay. Roll strength weaponry.
All right, I can do that. I'm good at that. Yes, I am very good at that.
You're much better at it than I am, which is why I wanted someone else to go first.
So that's a 16.
Okay, so I'm rolling its defense. Okay, for the sake of we only have 42 minutes, also it only has corpus of 3, you basically stab it for 3 lethal, and it kind of just, it doesn't seem to have hurt it extra, like you were hoping, but it definitely didn't like being stabbed by a big old knife, and it just sort of like is like, and it's melting into a puddle of goo and bones, and it's sizzling like electricity. You feel like an electric shock go up your hand, not like one that would cause damage, but like a static shock. We are now out of combat.
Yay!
But you were all just attacked by an electric capybara that was chittering at you, because... Yeah.
So, as I said, there's a werewolf equivalent to the hedge, and we are in it right now. I
That
suspect,
fucking lives here?
actually, to be perfectly honest with you, that is probably one of the nicer things I've seen here.
Klaus and Dune, I need you both to give me int occult rolls.
I suspect we crossed the barrier when we crossed through the broken doors, and that's why the atmosphere changed so hard.
Klaus, you can add your spirit spec. Dune, I'll allow you to add your werewolf spec.
Cool.
They're werewolves.
And that's int occult.
Int occult.
I'm at
16.
14.
These are, sorry players, these are things specific to splats that interact with the spirit world and or the werewolves that hunt them. Klaus, what did you get?
14.
14. Dune?
16.
Okay.
Can I use a +1 after the fact to push it to the next level of success?
I'll allow it right now.
Right?
'Cause I like lore dumps. So, 3 and 4 successes. Klaus, so spirits generally, when they're big enough to like, you've not been to the spirit world, but you've learned enough to like know what spirits look like. Generally, like, they have like genus and species, they have themes, they have kind of a cohesive sense of like there are rat spirits. A rat might eat, a rat spirit might eat a hunger spirit. And I'd say both you and Klaus and Dune get this. Like, a rat spirit eats a hunger spirit, and it becomes, a spirit of hungry rat, and, like, that makes sense. Like spirits eat their like and become more powerful. Like, one rat spirit eats other rats to become a bigger rat spirit. It'll eat a spirit of hunger or a spirit of disease, and, that still works with the whole rat motif. Electric capybara makes no sense. That's not how that's supposed to work. Also, it had different parts that were not capybara parts. That makes no sense. Dune, you got one more success. So werewolves hunt spirits because some spirits, regardless of what kind, cause problems, even if they're spirits of relatively nice concepts.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the more spirits a spirit eats, it kind of grows and becomes more powerful. Unfortunately, when for whatever reason, even, spirits have to eat, sometimes they can't eat their like in other spirits. At which point they start to become something called a magath, which is a weird amalgam of spirits that don't work together, and they become bigger and more dangerous and awful. And that's what that is, and that's really bad. Aside from, you cross the gauntlet without crossing the gauntlet, plus, that's a magath? What the fuck? That's really bad.
So,
you're starting to get a sense, at least, of why no one's supposed to come down here.
So it appears that whatever gauntlet might have stood at this place at any time, there isn't one anymore. You step directly from the, I suppose, real world would be the most accurate representation, directly into the spirit world, the Hisil, if you will. And that's where we are now. More importantly, the way spirits work is not the way that spirit worked. That spirit was some sort of, well, the hunters call them magaths, and they are not a good sign because it means that there's no ecosystem for the spirits to survive on. They are eating whatever they can find, and if they can't find anything, then they are eating whatever. This one appears to have been an electrical spirit, as eaten by a large rat spirit, which I have never seen before, and it was the fight between the two that caused it to become such a horrible thing to witness.
So, how do we get out?
That's my question.
Well, presumably, if we manage to find the doors again, we could go out the way we got in, which would be going out through the doors. They appear to be some form of limit, let's say, to the edges of this zone.
But we obviously can't just retrace our steps. We tried that and ended up here instead of where we came from.
Crossing the gauntlet would be the other way, of course, to get out of the Hisil, but there is no gauntlet. There is no space between here and there. It is it to say that the hedge were here in the real world with everything else, or whatever is beyond the hedge. If there were no hedge between what was beyond and the real world, then that would be what's happening here.
Very tempted to try opening a hedge door just to see what happens, but
I mean, you can't. You can try.
nah, it's
Go for
probably
it.
The space between here and there is no more. I don't know. I'm not the kind of wolf blood who opened those kinds of doors anyway.
Is there a way to call for help? You did say that you could try to call for werewolf help. If assuming that not all werewolves in the area want us to die here.
I have a couple of ways to try, and I will take out my last talon, which is
Oh, okay.
the last talon. Little bat. So Dune pulls out what looks like a little toy bat made of probably mastic clay. This is the last one, so I can't try after this one, but it might be able to reach the local pack. Or we can try the howling, as said before.
Save that for a last resort.
Fair enough.
Which, the howling or the thing?
The howling.
Howling will let everything know where we are, not just the local pack.
Yeah.
To be fair, there's no guarantee that this thing will not let everyone know where we are, not just the local pack. They are not exactly sturdy.
well, I don't have any better ideas, I suppose.
What message would you like to send? It can only be a few words.
Priorities on getting out, right?
Yeah. It'll let them know exactly where we are.
They may be able to pull it back to us, but there's no beacon on these things. I left the beacons at home. I was rather under the impression that sending a magical signal to let everyone know where you were, of a specific magical persuasion though, was not exactly the best thing to bring to a system full of anti-supernatural sentiment and not very many werewolves.
Class, while this conversation is going on, Min's butt space is freaking the fuck out. You get the sense that they have also not been to the spirit world. And they don't like it very much.
How about buried alive as a message? They would know they're stuck here.
About how many words can you send?
A sentence, maybe, not more.
Not as much as a send spell, unfortunately.
Trapped behind buried alive sign. Please help.
Fair enough. I will go down a little ways, not out of their sight, but like turning my back to them. So like they can still see me, but I can't really see them. Yeah. And I'm going to whisper this in first speech, the best first speech I can manage into the bat.
Yeah.
Trapped in the Hisil behind buried alive. Quarantine zone, help.
Okay.
Domain 666, and then I'll send it on its way.
Okay. The little clay bat turns into a real looking spirit bat and goes
and shrieks.
Oh, it's a tiny well, it hurts your ears. It's a tiny shriek, but it'll hurt anyone with acute senses. It's like ow, not damage, just annoying.
And then it's mosquito tone type shrieking.
What's a little disturbing is that it flies a little bit away, and then it's a little confused, but then it finds a direction and keeps going that way. Unfortunately, coming towards it is, or then from behind you, you hear another set of wings that are more feathery. As, this kind of half... So, at one point, it was probably another corvid. It is half, feathered and half exposed bone and singed flesh, and it's kind of leaving a smoke trail as it starts flying after the bat.
I shout a challenge at the corvid thing in the first song, basically come down here and make me.
Alright,
Come at me, Crow.
Sure, it takes the bait, because you're there and you're not flying, and you're easier to catch. So I go, and shrieks this, like, horrid shriek that doesn't just sound like a bird shriek. It sounds like crackling and fire. It sounds like the sound of flame, but on a higher pitch. Actually, no. The low pitch of flame and the high pitch of bird. And again, Mogoths are fucking weird. And as it gets closer, you see it's actually, like, again, about the size of a capybara. This is a really big bird, and it's coming to fuck you up. Everyone roll initiative again.
I need everything to stop making noise right now.
Sorry, but I kind of assumed we wanted the message to get through without being eaten by a firebird.
No. But with Min and then the bat and now this bird.
Firebird.
Initiative does not 10 again, correct?
I'll allow it in this instance.
Okay. What a waste. 24.
I'm at 12.
19.
I'm at 14 again.
Petruchio has his support octopus. Petruchio, or you can also just not roll initiative.
Oh, I rolled a 9.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
just,
I didn't hear you.
checking my bonus. That is Dex plus Composure. Okay.
Okay, so 9.
So that is a 16.
Oh, okay. Again, the NPC goes last because you're fighting like little spirits. These are all. What did I say? These are all horsey rank. These are all like. So far, you get a sense these are rank 1 spirits. So these aren't even the big ones. So, Hersich or Jadley? I forget. Oh, fuck it. Anyway, yes, it attacks. Dune goes first with the 24.
I'm going to stow the silver knife and pull out a regular one because it didn't seem like the other one particularly cared it was silver. Actually, I'm going to do the same with the cold iron one and just have 2 regular knives at the ready for when it inevitably comes for me because it's flying and I'm not.
I would say you can reach far enough to stab it now if you want, or do you just want to wait until it launches itself at you?
Oh, I'll stab it now if I can stab it now.
Yeah, you stab it now. Like I said, we have 27 minutes.
And no map.
Okay. 6 and strength plus weapons. 14.
Yes. The fire burb rolls a 1, so yeah, you just sort of and it but this time it actually like flame on and turns to ashes and dust. Ashes and dust. Interesting. All of you at this point need to make me morality checks.
I'm kind of glad that I'm not the kind of wolf blood who eats essence.
Everyone, if you
How does that work?
Morality check versus what is the question, because what it is determines how many dice we get to roll.
You have to now all roll as if you did something horrible, and so you have to make a humanity roll. Dracus has to make a wisdom roll. Changelings make clarity checks. Dune, you have
integrity, I think?
Yeah, I think it's integrity or morality.
I have it listed as integrity. I don't have any morality listed anywhere on this.
Okay, then use.
I have
use
something
integrity.
listed as integrity.
Yeah, your integrity would technically be wisdom. Let me bring up the sheet for that.
Okay, so we just try and... What are we doing?
So we're rolling.
You all have to make morality checks for a horrible magical reason.
Yep.
You roll dice equal to your stat, and you need to roll at least one success.
Yes.
Oh, so we're okay.
I rolled a 1.
So
That's bad.
Yeah.
Well, you
I
only-
don't have that many D10s.
You don't have 8 d10s? Do you want to roll it in the Discord?
I'm just gonna roll this a bunch of
Oh,
times.
do I need to roll 8 d10s?
Well,
You
how
roll
many?
one for
How
each.
much?
This is
How
a
much
regular-
integrity
I have-
do you have?
I have
I have
7
8.
integrity.
Yes. Wait. Let me bring up. I know I have a morality cheat sheet. Let me find it.
I think we've only made morality rolls once, and it was a very, very long time ago. I literally do not remember how this mechanic works.
I also do not remember. That's why I'm like looking.
I roll these all the time because I'm the one who has to kill people. You all suck.
As I recall, you don't roll these for killing people. You roll these because you keep reminding yourself that you used to be human once upon a time.
Yeah.
I remember my hands covered in the coffee-stained blood of a coffee elemental.
I forgot about that.
I remember you forced me to have a roll morality because you said, yeah, because your parents were and then you had to roll morality because you were both reminded you were both changelings.
Yeah.
Sungrazer and I made
Imagine being human once.
Yeah.
Changelings have to be very careful with what they say to each other.
Yeah. Like, you remember that time is not the way to start a conversation with changeling.
Regardless, how many dice am I rolling?
What's your clarity?
9?
What, you roll 9 dice.
All right. And I have to get an 8.
Wait, you have a clarity of 8?
You should probably be making clarity checks more often.
I have a clarity of 5. You all suck.
I have an integrity of 7, okay?
Degeneration notes. Here we are. And morality charts. Here we go.
7. It's 7.
I got 3.
But I definitely don't.
Yeah, if you roll an 8, a 9, or a 10, that's a success.
So I got 3.
And you want more
So you roll as many
successes than
as you want more successes than failures. Each and each one actually subtracts a success.
I got
10s, you can re-roll 10s. So an additional 8, 9, or 10 is a success. So roll as many d10s as you have dots in your morality or integrity stat.
Okay.
8s, 9s, and 10s are successes. 1s subtract from your successes. And you want more successes than not.
ones.
I'm just gonna roll 1 a bunch of
Actually-
times because I have
Okay, do
mothers
that.
of buried.
We have 20 minutes.
Roll this
We have
many
less than,
successes,
we have
5
15
dice.
minutes. I think we're going to have a to be continued.
I think you want at least one success after the ones are
Actually,
canceled
yeah.
out,
Oh yeah, if even one success is left after the entire roll sequence, your sense of compassion, etc., remains intact and your morality does not change.
So I have 2 successes, so nothing changes?
Right.
Yep, I also have 2 successes.
Okay.
That hasn't happened for a while. So yeah, that hasn't happened for a while. So Petruchio, as you've been attacked by this,
2 successes.
Okay, Petruchio, you feel
Yes.
you feel your beast wake up and goes, snarl, and then you're like, fuck you, stay down. And, like, you feel like you just had your humanity challenged, but you didn't fucking do anything.
Yeah. And it's fun. I don't sense another beast for my beast to wake up with, so...
Arrakis, because your name is oh no, that's your name now.
That's my character's
Klaus.
name right now.
You have a Dune. But you need to interact.
Klaus, mage morality is based on wisdom versus hubris, and you feel that fight go on in your very mage soul, and you're not sure that's ever really happened to you. And again, you didn't do anything. You didn't cast any spells. You didn't let loose any paradox. What the fuck was that?
I didn't burn down a building.
Changelings, you feel your grip on reality loosen, like your clarity has been challenged, and like, the fuck just like you're, well, I mean, you're changelings, a lot of things do that, so you're probably the least plussed about this, because it's like, changelings are fragile. Like, your morality is based on your mental strength, and, well, yeah. Dune, you feel like someone is... Your wolf blood, you don't really have a beast, but you feel like your ability to give a shit about the world, like, fell away for a second and then came back. Like, you almost
Why should you try saving the universe? Because I'm one of the assholes who lives in it.
Yeah. And Dune, you feel a flash of, like, and the sense of losing that grip on your humanity, we'll call it human, because you're human. It came from a very angry place. And you can't tell if it was you or some element of where you are. And
Question. Did it feel like the times I sniffed the goose? Because I kept having to make rage checks for that.
You know, it
Wrath.
does kind of remind you of that.
And this was right at the moment that the burb was destroyed?
Yeah. To be honest, you all think about it, and you feel like you... Yeah, you're not sure if this is something that's been mounting since you walked onto the street, but it, like, came to a head when the burb attacked. But, like, something was building, and then suddenly snarled and bit at you, like, on a spiritual level. And some of you awakening problems, and others loosening your grip on reality, and it's like, that wasn't pleasant.
But it was, unlike my regular morality check.
Yeah, usually...
It was not feeling detachment. It was actually affecting my beast.
Yeah, your beast woke up and almost did a thing, and you're like, what?
Because we know that the Red Plague has something to do with rage and violence, right?
I think we just got hit with the Red Plague.
Or attempted to get hit by.
Dune, I want you to make an occult roll, an int occult roll. You need 5 successes, minimum. You can use your werewolfy thing.
I'm gonna go ahead and add, because that's...
Want to pull from the pool?
7,
Yeah.
so...
How many are you using?
9, that's 16. I'm gonna add 4 points to the pool right now from the pool.
I'll allow it.
And I make it with a 9. So with the 9 and the 7 I have in dots and the 4 from the pool, that is 20.
Awesome. So, like I said before, werewolves are very the herd must not know, but you are in this interesting cultural loophole where you're not a werewolf, but you're also not quite the herd. So, growing up, you got to be in the room when werewolves were telling war stories to horror stories about their exploits or their lineages, and this reminds you of something that was kind of a cross between war and horror story. There are some weird ripples in the gauntlet where there is no gauntlet. And that's dangerous, and even if it's a nice place like a glade, werewolves will protect it because you don't want norms falling into the Hiss Hill. Or spirits coming out that way. There is a kind of horrifically traumatized kind of shadow space called a wound. It's usually the site of some kind of great atrocity. And it basically, sometimes it opens a hole in the gauntlet, sometimes it opens a whole realm where the gauntlet phases in and out. It is a horrible, horrible place, and it can take a lot of work to fix one. Sometimes werewolves just, cordon off the territory and patrol it and make sure no one goes in. So the fact that there were, you know, lots and lots of plague victims down here who all died horribly in rage monster mode might account for a kind of genocidal atrocity, especially if the buried alive markings makes it sound like maybe people were left down here to die. And if that wouldn't cause that much pain and suffering, didn't cause a wound, you don't know what would.
I don't believe that this is, in fact, the Red Plague, but I do think that this is caused by what happened then.
And
it's more like the place remembers.
Wounds?
All the rage and fear and pain and suffering.
When werewolves go into wounds, they have to keep making death rage checks. Because just from being in that area. Because the area itself is making you rage because it is so full of trauma on a spiritual level. And that might be what's happening. Like, you aren't a werewolf. But if you had to make an educated guess...
There's... The place itself remembers what happens here. What happened here. In this case, all the rage and pain and suffering tore the very... I suppose the spirit realm is the best way to describe it. Tore into that and left an impression. And that impression is what is, I believe, coming back to haunt us. Or at least causing us to behave in ways we would not otherwise behave.
And there is another element that makes wounds even more dangerous, especially to the werewolves, is there are portals between the mundane world and the shadow world. You know, at Logoi, and you cross into the gauntlet that way. When there's a wound, a portal opens to somewhere else, which further infects it and can possibly cause the creation or summoning, depending on who's telling the story and why, of a magellan. Which is an Incarna-level spirit monster that rules its domain. And that's bad.
So the things we've been encountering so far, the large rat, whatever it was, and the bird, they're small. But places like this attract things that are big. Things that will eat an entire pack, 2 entire packs, even if they are ready for them.
And, again, you asked about comparing this to the goose. And you sense an edge of that gooseness here. And, I wonder what other realm that portal could connect to.
And unfortunately, despite our compatriots' best attempts, I am sure, places like this also unfortunately tend to attract, it's not attract, I suppose, but open into the abyss.
So again, how can we leave as quickly as possible?
I would also like to know that.
We get to the edges of it and we get out, or we get lucky. Sometimes these places pulse with a gauntlet that we could cross if we had any kind of spirit to guide us across. Though trying to find a kindly spirit here would be a most difficult task indeed.
Does it have to be a kindly spirit or just one that's obeying our commands?
Probably kindly.
Dune, with 5 successes, you will not find any friendly spirits here.
One who is obeying our commands might work, but there is no friendly spirit here to guide us back across.
Maybe don't kill the next one.
So if we can't find a friendly spirit, we can't just, like, walk out the way we came. What do we physically do to start trying to get the fuck out of here?
Walk in some direction and hope.
Yeah, okay.
Or we could wait for rescue. I don't know if the bat would make it.
At which point, you still have your 1 flashlight. you all hear... You can't tell if it's the scream of one animal or of many horrified people. But you hear it coming towards you from up the darkened Undercity block.
I'm gonna start
And
running.
that's where we're gonna have to call game.
You're
Yeah.
running.
So I guess I accidentally wrote 2 games of plot again. Oh, poor me. So,
Surprise.
wow, it really sucks that we don't have a werewolf here. Because they generally have
for
more...
you, we didn't have a werewolf constantly trying to go crazy.
That's true too. He would have had to make a lot more Karuth checks, and I don't... Or does he have to be in Garu form for the... Anyway, yeah, but... Oh dear.
I will point out that Dune did pick up a new tell on his last run of upgrades, which anger issues. If he gets pissed off, he's gonna go Karuth, unfortunately.
Or something like it, because, well, humans can go into rage mode too.
Yeah.
Just, okay, so, our players are
Basu
trapped
M and
in
Basu
hell.
M do apply.
You know, well, I'll take a look at the scheduling for next week, but, I mean, if the same 5 people can make it next week, we might just have Eden 3 weeks in a row.
We'll see.
Because I don't have
I
any...
know I can't make it next week.
What's next week?
All the Phil conventions all at once.
Right.
Jesus.
All the Phil conventions that are canceled are combining together in one big online conglomeration.
Do you know,
Oh,
I just found the transcript of that one night in whatever other game when we were just filking, like, the whole chat.
Okay, so, yeah, our player characters are trapped in an actual hellscape. Yay! And I guess we'll have to see what happens next game. It might be, so I guess we'll talk about it in Discord. I will post it on Twitter when our next game will be. Yeah. Because I realized I wasn't bringing enough horror into my World of Darkness game. Surprise!
Thrilling.
What's...
Okay. To paraphrase, I think we're in a lot of trouble.
Well, speaking of which, I don't know about other splats, but I know for vampires, I finally found the section and found that the morality roll I made was way too easy, and we'll talk about that later.
That's okay. I mean, you know, we'll say the first one's free. But yeah. Yeah, we might all want to go into the Discord. Everyone PM me, like, for your specific morality rolls, or just review them in your various books, before next game.
If you can't find morality, look at breaking points.
Yeah, breaking
I use the
points.
human one because I'm technically human.
Okay, so yes, I went further into the horror genre. Imagine this is what a red plague outbreak does. Imagine what, you know, a Supernat purge would do to a cityscape.
Yeah.
Or a domed colony.
With a wound like that in the basement? Like...
Well, you're definitely getting a sense of why these werewolves didn't just leave. Anyway, and hopefully that little bat spirit can make it out and warn the local pack.
Make it to the local pack. Fingers crossed.
The question of whether it was the pack or someone else who sent us a message to say, come hang out in our hellscape.
Now,
Ding, ding, ding!
there's
Yeah.
also
Who's
the-
a smart changeling?
There's also the point that we could have stopped at the sign and howled for the pack and met them there instead of being dumbasses and walking in. But we decided to be dumbasses and walk in all of our own.
Yeah. That was what I was suggesting. Is like, let's get out of the hospital, go back to the sign, and we can howl there. And we walked out, we're not where we were. And it's like, ah, fuck.
Anyway.
Well, chat, thanks for coming on this horrific romp with us. Next week will be even more disgusting and horrific and awful. So I guess, content warning. This is gonna get fucked up. I will definitely review our Lines and Veils document before next game, because that is also something I forgot to do today. Whoops. Okay. I hope I didn't break any lines or veils. Fuck. I'm a bad GM. Anyway, this is Magic Fish Radio, where we use safety documents. And, yeah, join our Discord to know when we're gonna run the rest of this horrific adventure. Fadir, I've seen Colic. I'm good. Yeah, Kolok.
I just did rewatched the Toyland episodes for Masters of the Metaverse. That's some freaky shit.
At least those you get some daylight before the sun falls suddenly and the monsters come out again. But yeah, no daylight here. Whew. So yeah, I'm at Ms. Chrysala on most social medias, or at Magic Fish Radio on social medias. So like I said, we alternate this game with an indie RPG one-shot every other week, starting next week. Or restarting next week, because we did this 2 weeks in a row because I was sick earlier in January. And, maybe not sick is the right word. Maybe spoon derailed might be a better term. Anyway. Yeah, this is what we do here. We do this. We do indie game nights every other Saturday. If you are an indie game developer, writer, contributor, or fan, and just want to run a one-shot of an indie game on a stream that you can then record and have a VOD when you refer people back to play this game, because this is what it looks like to play it. You know, up front, we cannot pay anyone because we have no money.
Can't ever get you a group, so, you know.
But if you are, despite that, still interested in running a one-shot of your indie game module here, come talk to us on Twitter or our Discord. There should be 8 bajillion Discord links in chat by now. And yeah, just ask us about it. We have no one scheduled for next week. Our go-to is me running Demon Hunters. I would be okay not doing that. And yeah, so honestly, if someone wants to run a game of Demon Hunters, that would also be fine. But yeah, so get in contact with us. And yeah, I do all of the things here. We also do Vampire the Masquerade V5 set in the 1920s on Tuesday nights, called Eldritch Adversaries, where well, basically the adultiest PC we currently have is a Malkavian. So that should tell you something, you know, helping 2 youngins learn how to be vampires, and it is, well, she didn't think letting the Von Shrew and the Nos go off unsupervised would be a bad idea, but, you know, she had books to read.
It was a terrible idea. She has no idea what happened, and we're not going to tell her.
Humanity checks were made. I think it was ridiculous. Yeah. We're in a lot of trouble. And in Paris. I love Paris.
I'm not in a lot of trouble. It's just Isabel.
And when I also play in a game on Thursday on We Are Nerdsmith called Romp Across Ravnica, where I play a lovable dumbass barbarian tabaxi named Moo. And
0 brain cells in that one.
She has a high emotional intelligence, but not a high intelligence. So that's fun to play, and also I don't have to run the game or the OBS, so it's awesome. And yeah, so that's me. Follow us on all the social medias, and I'm gonna go look for someone to raid, so let's go clockwise again. Oh, but everyone moved anyway. Anyway, okay, Dune, who are you when you are not a wolf blood trapped in a wound without a werewolf?
When I'm not up shit creek without a paddle, I'm Merc, on the social medias. I don't do much of note, but you guys should definitely watch the Reliables on Monday nights on Zombie Orpheus Twitch. I'm not on there. I just like watching it, so I'm going to plug them. But, you know.
Next.
Joe Rando, your turn.
At Once and Future Doctor on Twitter. I have a role-playing game company called Duffelbag Full of Zombies Press, and I write all sorts of random crazy things.
Next, Sungrazer.
Hi, when I'm not Sungrazer, I'm Puka. You can find me on Discord or Twitch or Twitter under PukaGar. I write stuff and put it on the Storyteller's Vault, so you can check that out as well.
When you're not seeing me here, I'm Josh. Neme or Nemex on various socials. I don't write that much, although you occasionally see me appearing at conventions or filkrooms. Speaking of which, as mentioned, there is a combination of Conflict and Gefilk, and I think at least one other con, Festival of the Living Room, which is the online-only Filk convention next weekend, all weekend. And if so, you're interested in geeky music, look it up. It'll be fun.
And
Yes, that leaves me. Hi, I'm Drakus. I've been playing Klaus this evening. You can find me playing Vern in our Tuesday night game. I'm on our Discord a lot. I do other various things, but I don't really have like a good place where I put those things right now. So, you know, keep an eye on the Discord and I'll probably excitedly scream about it at some point.
Okay, what's funny is Polish Cryptid is doing Dungeons and Dragons, but Crafty Grant is playing Dead by Daylight. I'm not sure who I can't decide who to raid. Crafty Grant did used to do will hopefully continue a YouTube thread called Crafting with Cocktails. They are very fun. They're playing Dead by Daylight. This seems appropriate for today.
Yeah.
Oh wait, actually, are they they look like they are... Oh! Are they taking... God damn it. Are they taking a break? I don't know. I think they're still playing. Okay, we'll do that. Okay, so, get ready to raid Crafty Grant. That's not how I raid command. Okay. So get ready to raid Crafty Grant. I guess raid command is survival. Or just survive! Survive!
Survivors of the fiddles.
So yeah, that's us for this week. Check out our Discord for more of our stuff. And maybe video game streams if I ever have spoons for those again. Until we see you next time, please take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and survive!